Hi, this is Wishop, and this is your new moon reading for the Leo new moon of August 2nd, 2016. So there's a lot of great astrology that you can check out in other places, and there are lots of people who can tell you about the joyous, creative, amazing potential of this new moon to be part of new activities. Like if you do new moon intentions, to be writing about your new goals, your new ambitions, new relationships, all that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. And I think it's great. But I found when I started flipping cards, once again, I shouldn't be surprised, I got sort of a contrarian view. And it's not exactly a contrarian view. It's not against any of that energy. It's just a way to think about that energy, hopefully, that you might find interesting. So I hadn't rolled the dice for any Ching card in a while, so I did that. And I got 60, limitation. Let me hold this up so you can really see this meditative figure in front of a moon with a lake in his lap, basically, and a lotus blooming out of the mud. And you'll see it says self-discipline, practice, self-respect, introspection, ritual, cultivate patience, build up energy, and maturity. And here's what I think's going on here, which actually I hope you'll find really encouraging. It says that the process of building new discipline, building this new identity, building your new relationship, building your new endeavors, accomplishing the new goals that you're setting, you don't have to do it in this very, I don't know how else to say it, this very modern Western way of setting, 31 days to this and 25 pounds to that, and setting all these metrical, charted, documented, logged, apt sort of goals, when what you're really looking at is a very organic transformation. Whether or not these new things are things you chose, or some of them may have been inflicted upon you. We've had a lot of very tumultuous energy. You may be in the middle of dramatic changes that you didn't choose, and here you are. But I think if you try to squeeze them because of social pressure, Leo is a very social sign. Leo wants to show itself to the world and to be appreciated. And so in our desire to be appreciated for our new things, our new choices, our new ways of being, we may feel a pressure to conform and to fit our goals into already established little boxes, or to put it on a chart that other people can understand. But it may not be like that. It may be a little wilder, a little woollier. This river may be taking you places that you can't see and that other people won't understand. And that's what I feel like the cards are really saying this week. But that if you keep coming back to yourself, keep coming back to who you are and what you want, and the reason why you set on this journey in the first place, that is discipline. Returning again and again gently to yourself is discipline, and it will build all the changes you want. Even if there's no app for it on your smartphone and there's no sticker in your planner, you are still disciplined and you are still making the changes, and you can do it as gently as the tides come in and out. They ebb and flow. They don't have to give themselves stickers or badges for it, because it's just going to happen. Like all of your long established routines happen. You don't have to be so conscious of them anymore. Being conscious, setting up metrics and quantitative goals can be very useful when you're trying to establish new routines, and I'm not trying to dismiss that. But our culture seems to say that's the only way to make change, that is the path you must follow. And if you're charting a new path, Consensus is the cul-de-sac that we've all already been down. So you may be really blazing a new trail that the rest of us will look at later and go, wow, we couldn't see it. We didn't see where it was going. And you are going to shine the light for all of us. So that's what these cards are really talking about this week. If I move on to the 3 layered cards I got, let me show you these. We have the Hermit from the Animal Totem deck. We have Temptation from the Brownies Oracle, and we have the Cross card from Lenormand. So let me first talk about Temptation. I've had this in my personal readings. I think we may have had it last week or last moon even, is this is a shop window, right? And everything in here is ranked by price and desirability. What's in the front of the window? What's in the back? What costs the most? What costs the least? What does everybody else standing in line think about it? Is it okay to want these things? What if you want this thing in the back and not this thing in the front? The temptation in the sociability and the comparison of Leo, because Leo has pride, maybe to feel defensive about your choices, or to worry that your choices don't conform to things that other people understand, that they're not thumbs upping or upvoting your choices. And that is a temptation that while trying to do something new, you could fall into consensus, because what you're trying to do is so new, it's very difficult to explain. So I think that's something to be wary of. And also because Leo, as I said, can be ferociously defensive, you want to have quiet confidence, but not defensiveness. So the other card, the tarot card we got, is the Hermit. And this is interesting because it's a mantis, and instead of having the light in the dark, this mantis is sort of holding the sun, that Leo sun, in its feelers. But another interesting thing about this card, when you read the book, is it talks about the mantis's need to go to sleep and to pull information from dreams. And with that watery energy of the I Ching, water over lake, I feel like there's a lot of subconscious stuff that's still trying to come up, revelations, insights, new directions. And here's Cross. Cross in Lenormand can be a burden. It can be a difficulty or a crisis point, but it can also be a spiritual gift. It can be enlightenment. So, as I say, even a winning lottery ticket can be a crisis because it's going to change everything in your life. It can be disruptive, but it's also a great blessing. So, Cross is associated with the 12th house, which is Pisces, the hidden house, right? This deeply spiritual house. So we've still got these cards pointing to this deeply spiritual stuff that's coming up. Chances are the new moves you're making, whether it's job or lifestyle or relationship, they are part and parcel of spiritual changes you're making, not separate from, but all connected to. And that may have made it very hard to explain in some ways. Mercury has now moved into Virgo, so it might get a little easier to explain those things in a practical way. But I think try to avoid the temptation to lock things down too much, or to defend yourself, or to compare too much, because the things that are happening are very deep. They're very deep, and you're having to go deep within to get them, and bringing them forward, you may not always be clear what you have right away. That lotus that the character had in his lap, the lotus will get rinsed of the mud. It will come forth in beauty, but it's still a process. I know everybody hates hearing it's a process. I hate it too, because I can get impatient as well. But I always feel like these readings are, as much for me as for anybody else, possibly more so. So I loved these cards. Here's our anti-advice, and here's our advice card. I love that they're number 30 and 31 because they sort of show a continuum again, this process. Two little witches is magical space clearing time. These little witches, to me, in the sort of anti-advice section, are saying you don't have to reconstruct yourself. You don't have to worry that you are being overly influenced or overly polluted. You just need to sort of gently come back to yourself. Again and again, just gently come back to yourself. You don't need an overhaul from the ground up, right? You've been doing that. This is a sort of gentle reestablishment of this new identity you want, this new thing that you're going towards. And the 31 is trust yourself. And if you look at this amazing sort of imaginative scape from her head, you see all these animals. There are snakes and birds and cats, from a house cat to a lion. There's a sloth, there's a monkey. How could you ever explain to someone the diversity of imagination in this head? Unless you can see it yourself with her, you may not understand the full picture. So that's what's happening with other people. If you have a really deeply imaginative new vision for your future, it may be difficult to get that across to people right now. Try to avoid the temptation to feel defensive about it. Try to feel like the strength card with that Leo energy, that you have grace, that you have such strength that you don't need to feel defensive, and that you feel not like you have to start from scratch, or that you have to worry that other people aren't getting where you're going. And I think just try to stay away a little bit as possible, as makes sense to you. Stay away from the urge to overly organize what this transformation's going to look like, because chances are it's not going to follow the chart that you thought it would. And its fits and starts are not the sign of a loss of progress. They're just the ebbs and tides, and they're natural, and they give you time to recuperate between moments of great explosive growth, and then you rest and you internalize that knowledge, and you gain those skills and you get comfortable with them, and then you take another explosive step forward. So whether or not you're finding yourself right now in the growing pains section, where it feels very strange and you feel so odd and you can't figure out what you're doing or why you're doing it, but you just know you're doing something important, or you're at a stage where you've just passed some of that and you're thinking, now what? I can't explain this. What do I do with it? All of that strange up in the air energy is part of a really great transformation that I think is taking you into the next important chapter of your life. And so, above all, try to trust yourself. Try to be gentle with yourself. Realize that discipline doesn't have to be painful. It's just the maturity to return, to just keep coming back. Don't give up, just keep coming back. And whatever it is you're doing, and whatever amazing progress you're making, and whatever new trails you're blazing that I can't understand yet, but that you are going to bring forth for all of us, rock on with your bad selves.